Look, we've all seen it. The guy hopping into a first-class seat wearing a stained t-shirt and gym shorts while the dude in the terminal is adjusting his watch every 5 minutes, making sure everyone catches the glint of his investment piece. It's a cliche because it's true. The loudest person in the room is usually the one with the most debt. Real wealth doesn't need an audience. I want to get past the flashy nonsense and actually look at the blueprint for freedom. This isn't about looking rich, it's about being wealthy. Welcome to Practical Wisdom. On this channel, we talk about money, the lifestyle, and ways we can help you level up your life. So if this sounds good to you, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. So, most people think freedom comes from the next promotion or a lucky break, but that's just a bigger hamster wheel. True freedom starts when your money starts doing the heavy lifting so you don't have to. If you're still trading every hour of your life for $1, you aren't free, you're just busy. But I know you already knew that. Therefore, in today's video, we're looking at 10 quiet signs that someone is actually set for life. We're not doing this to be nosy. We're doing it to find the patterns. Because if you want to get to be wealthy, you need to stop watching the people who are rich and start studying their ways, thinking, habits, and what they do differently so that we can borrow some of their traits and apply them in our own lives. So, if that sounds good to you, hit that like button and let's get into it. Sign number 1. They prioritize net worth over net applause. First off, these people care about their bottom line, not who's clapping for them. Have you ever noticed the loudest person in the room is usually the one most desperate to be noticed? However, the people who actually have it don't feel that pressure. Like, look at a typical rich family. They've got a solid house and a nice ride, but they bought them because they make sense for their life, not so they could flex on the internet. They're low-key for a reason. They don't need the attention, and they definitely don't want to be a target. I actually met a guy once who looked like he'd been wearing the same blue jeans and shirt for years. Turns out he owned 38 properties. He was making $40,000 a month. I asked him why he wasn't out here buying the newest everything, and he just looked at me and said, "I'd rather be rich than look rich." That stayed with me. Most of that flashy stuff you see, it's leased. The quiet stuff, that's owned. At the end of the day, success isn't about the number on your paycheck. It's about how many of your hours actually belong to you. We all need to be at the point where we're doing what we want, when we want, because we actually own our time. And in this life, that's the real win. Sign number 2, they treat cars like toasters. Useful, not flashy. Look, let's talk about the biggest money pit most people fall for. The car. Unless you're a genuine gearhead and cars are your life's passion, you've got to be careful. I know a guy on the internet with a warehouse full of Aston Martins, Porsches, G-Wagons, millions of dollars just sitting there in metal that loses value every time the sun rises. I don't care how much he's worth. That's a lot of money tied up in stuff that just gets older and cheaper. The thing is, you can't judge someone by what they drive. If you see a dude in a 7-year-old Camry, don't play yourself thinking he's broke. He's probably just smart. Meanwhile, the guy in the G-Wagon next to him at Starbucks is usually one missed paycheck away from the repo man coming for his keys. If a car is just a way to get you from A to B, don't make it your whole personality. Financing a depreciating asset for 7 years, especially with interest rates where they are right now, is the fastest way to kill your future. I like nice cars, don't get me wrong. But if I were to buy one today, I'd pay cash, I'd take care of it, and I'd keep it for a long time. Think about it. The average car loses about 60% of its value in the first 5 years. That's like taking a stack of thousands, throwing it into a volcano, and watching it melt for no reason. Most people who are actually set for life don't buy cars to impress the neighbors. They buy for what they need and what they actually enjoy. They pay it off, they maintain it, and they move on with their lives while everyone else is busy chasing a monthly payment they can't afford. Sign number 3, they spend money to buy back time. Think about it. Time is the only thing we're all running out of. You get the same 24 hours in a day as the richest dudes on the planet. The difference is they stopped measuring their wealth by the balance in their bank account and started measuring it by how much of their day they actually own. I'm starting to look at things the same way. Like, look at chores around the house. Can I scrub the floors or spend my Saturday mowing the lawn? Yeah, of course I can. but I'm not great at it, and honestly, I hate doing it. If I can scrape together some cash to pay someone who's actually a pro to handle that, I just bought my Saturday back. Now I can use those hours to focus on my side hustle, hang out with my family, or just catch a break so I don't burn out. That's what actually makes life feel rich. There's a ladder to this. Most of us start at the bottom, just trading our hours for a paycheck. But the goal is to start flipping that, trading some of those dollars to get your hours back. The ultimate level? That's when you trade dollars for more dollars, where your money is out there working so you don't have to. At the end of the day, people who are really winning value their time way more than their money. Sign number 4. They're quiet about their wins, but loud about gratitude. Have you ever met someone who's just completely calm? They aren't trying to prove a point, and you just instinctively trust them. That's usually a sign of real wealth, and I'm not just talking about money, I'm talking about their perspective on life. I heard about a guy once who said, "I'm the poor one in my circle." Turns out the man was worth $100 million, but his friends were billionaires. Talk about a reality check on perspective. People who are actually rich don't make their bank account their whole identity. To them, money is just a tool to fund the life they want, not who they are as a person. That's why I'm big on figuring out your why first. When you're driven by a real purpose, you start making better choices. You stop chasing applause and start focusing on things that actually matter, like helping others and finding some real meaning in what you do. Sign number 5. They're frugal with wants, but fast with needs. Here's a contradiction. Wealthy people will stress over a $40 phone charger, but won't hesitate to drop $40,000 on a solid business move. It sounds backwards, but they know the difference between a want and a win. My friend Nelson spent 2 weeks obsessing over which laptop to buy, yet he signed up for a high-level mastermind in 5 minutes. He spent hours on a $30 choice but made a $20,000 move instantly because the ROI was clear. Truly wealthy people pause when it comes to spending on stuff they consume, but they move fast on things that create. They're always asking, what can this build for me? When you've got your vision locked in, it's easy to see which moves actually get you ahead. Sign number 6. They've mastered the art of the pause. Delayed gratification isn't just about skipping dessert, it's about skipping the distractions that mess with your future. I have a buddy who waited a full 90 days before buying a $15,000 watch. When I asked him why, he said, "If I still want it in 3 months, it's real. Anything else is just an impulse." Everything around us is designed to make us snap by. Social media, comparison, and those limited time countdowns. That's why I try to use a waiting period. Whether it's 48 hours or a few months for the big stuff, you've got to let the excitement fade so you can think straight. Don't let a "sale ends tonight" timer pressure you. That's just marketing talk, and you can't let it drive your money decisions. Sign number 7. They live in modest homes by choice. Look, modest means something different to everyone, but most people kill themselves trying to keep up with the neighbors. My wife and I live in a beautiful spot, but it's not some 10,000 square foot mansion. Honestly, what would we even do with all that space? I'd probably need a GPS just to find her and the dogs. Just because the bank says you qualify for a massive mortgage doesn't mean you should sign for it. I knew a couple who got approved for a $1 million loan but bought a $400,000 house instead. They paid it off early and invested the rest. Their home gave them peace, not a headache. Way too many people end up house rich but cash poor and stressed out. A home is supposed to support your life, not suffocate it. Sign number 8. They quietly use financial strategies you've never heard of. These people use financial moves you probably won't hear about at the water cooler. It's not magic, just stuff like trusts, tax strategies, and estate planning. Things that sound like total gibberish until you actually dig in. To them, it's just normal talk because they made learning about money a priority. Sign number 9. Their calendar feels like a menu, not a to-do list. They actually design their days. I've started doing the same. My default answer for my time is no unless there's a real reason to say yes. I block out my schedule to protect my energy. I make sure I have time for my wife, the dogs, my health, and the work that actually gets me somewhere. Sign number 10. They give generously but never for the credit. You'll see it all the time. People who donate huge amounts or help out a local clinic, and you'd never know it was them unless you saw their name on a plaque years later. They aren't doing it for the social media shout out or to get a like. Real generosity doesn't need an audience. It's not always about writing a massive check either. It's about sharing time, effort, or even just solid advice to help someone else get ahead. There's actually a Harvard study that looked into what makes millionaires happy. It turns out just having a high net worth isn't the trick. The ones who were actually satisfied with life had a purpose behind their money. Whether it's anonymously covering someone's rent or supporting a cause they believe in, they use their wealth as a tool to lift others up. That's the real goal of financial freedom. Having enough of a surplus that you can change someone else's life without needing a thank you for it. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, but before you go, make sure you subscribe and share this video. With that said, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.